There are internet and social media trends that are just plain nonsense, some that are extremely dangerous, and others that are both annoying and risky. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. These are the worst internet trends that people are still doing up to now. But before we start, if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe so you'll always be updated with videos like this. Swarming. This trend is annoying because the people doing it aren't the ones most affected. The ones who suffer are innocent people who just happen to be around. There are different names for this depending on who you ask. Some call it swarming or steaming, while others call it teen takeovers. But the concept is the same. On social media, there are calls for large groups of young people to gather in shopping malls or in public places with the sole purpose of causing chaos. They use TikTok and Snapchat to gather hundreds of teenagers in one place at the same time. It could happen in a store, a fast food chain, or even in a parking lot. And there's really only one reason they go there: to cause trouble. When these swarming incidents start, people become unruly, and it often ends up with establishments getting damaged. But this trend isn't new. It started from crimes that happened many years ago. In the early 2010s, so-called flash mob robberies started to spread. A large group would suddenly rush into stores, grab whatever they could steal, then escape all at once. Because there were so many of them, the employees would get overwhelmed. It was almost impossible to stop them or identify who committed the crime. There have even been reports of flash mob robberies happening as far back as 2011. At that time, text messages and early social media platforms were used to plan the raids. But now, because of technology, it's become much easier and faster to do. With just one post, thousands of people can be reached within minutes. They just share the location, set a time, and soon after, a large group will arrive. Because of organized gatherings planned on social media, there have been consecutive disturbances in different cities in America. And eventually, it even spread to other countries. Store owners hardly have any time to react. Some can do nothing but watch as their merchandise is stolen. There are even establishments that were forced to close earlier just to stay safe. Many restaurants also quickly locked their doors and hid inside while chaos erupted outside. Eventually, swarming also spread to different countries like London, Australia, and Canada. At that point, it was no longer just a simple trend. It really became a serious public safety issue. As the incidents increased, the police started to take it seriously. Their goal was to prevent swarming before it even started. That's why authorities are now also monitoring TikTok and Snapchat to identify planned takeover or swarming events. When they find out that a gathering is scheduled, they immediately deploy more police and security in the area. But in some instances, the police still respond late. By the time they arrive, a huge crowd has already formed and the stores are already overwhelmed. In these situations, they arrest people who refuse to leave. And even after the crowd disperses, the police still review CCTV and body cam footage to identify and locate those involved. Sometimes they even release the footage to the public to ask for help in identifying the suspects. There are even parents who, upon discovering that their children were involved in the chaos, personally turn them over to the police. But in the end, the ones most affected by this are really the business owners and shopkeepers. Because of swarming, it has become much harder for them to run their businesses. The establishments that can afford it have added more security personnel. Meanwhile, others are forced to close early as soon as they see groups starting to gather outside. This has become one of the biggest problems for businesses and communities. And what's worse is that those who do this don't even understand how much financial and economic damage they cause to the places they disturb. Unfortunately, there is still no clear way to completely stop this trend, especially since these groups don't really have a leader. It's just one big group of troublemakers acting all at once. And up to now, swarming is still happening. As long as social media makes it easy to organize these kinds of gatherings, no one really knows when this will end. Our next topic is about content creators who found a way to go viral by filming people in the most difficult situations of their lives. Poverty gone wrong. This trend is simple. There are creators and influencers who go to poor areas, make content out of people who are struggling, and upload it online. Sometimes it looks like they're helping or spreading awareness. But for some creators, the real goal is just for the video to go viral. And the more tragic or dire the situation in the video is, the more engagement they get. In the latter part of 2025, the YouTuber Pete Z uploaded a video titled, "I Survived India's Deadliest Slum." Pete went to India and stayed for 3 days in one of the largest slums in the world. But the video went viral for the wrong reasons. Many people were offended by the way he portrayed the place. He highlights police corruption, violence, and theft in the community. He was also accused by many of turning people's suffering into entertainment. Some reporters called this poverty tourism, and because of that, it became a topic of discussion in different countries. Despite the intense backlash, the video remained online. It may be offensive to many, but it's not illegal. But there was another creator who did something even worse. Keith Castillo. In 2025, Keith was struggling to get views on his videos, so he came up with a new content idea. He said he would film himself while giving gifts to homeless people. At first glance, it seemed like a good deed, but the problem is what he's giving isn't really proper help. Instead of food or warm clothes, what he gives are inappropriate and harmful things. He even titled the video, "Keeping the Homeless in the Streets." Many viewers were concerned and annoyed by the concept of the video. It's as if it implies that giving them vices or bad influences will only make the situation of homeless people worse. A lot of people were furious about what he did. It was just like an extremely bad clickbait stunt to get views. But Keith just ignored the backlash. According to him, he talked to the police and they told him that he wasn't breaking any laws. When he was asked why he did it, he said he was just copying the trends he saw other creators doing. In other words, he just did it for the views. He also doesn't seem to be concerned about giving alcohol to people who might already have substance abuse problems. According to him, honestly, I don't care, bro. It's good for clicks and views. But as the criticism against him continued, he said that the video was just a skit. He added, he also said that he took back the harmful items after filming. Since then, he hasn't made that kind of content again. But unfortunately, this kind of trend is still alive today. Keith's video looks like he's helping, but in reality, it's the opposite of real help. It's like calling something good even though it's clearly not. The garlic trend. This trend promised to provide a solution to the problem experienced by millions and millions. But instead of helping, it only made the situation worse. It was called the garlic and nose trend, and it started to become popular in 2021. A woman with a stuffy nose tried a health hack. She filmed herself while inserting a piece of garlic into her nose. Afterwards, she left it there for almost 10 minutes. When she pulled the garlic out, a lot of mucus came out with it. Because of that, it seemed to continue. It seemed like the garlic worked and cleared her stuffy nose. Many people experience colds and nasal congestion. That's why many people quickly believed it was an easy solution. Thousands of people tried it. It even made it to the news. And in almost all the videos, the same thing happens. They pull out the garlic, and then there's mucus along with it. It quickly became a viral TikTok trend. In fact, more than 94.9 million clips have been shared on TikTok using the hashtag garlic and shy garlic and nose. Many TikTok trends are obviously dangerous, but this one seems safe and helpful at first glance. They say garlic is natural. There are also some TikTok users who caption their videos with, "This isn't dangerous, garlic just cleans out your sinuses." But that's not true. In reality, this hack is actually dangerous. People just didn't notice it right away. As the trend continued on social media, problems started happening behind the scenes. One TikTok user said she really regretted trying it. She immediately removed the garlic after just 1 minute because her nose was burning so much. But even after the garlic was removed, the irritation lasted. Something worse happened to another woman. The garlic got stuck inside her nose and she even ended up in the hospital. Doctors had to remove it using medical suction tools. But even though these things have happened, many people still don't believe the trend is dangerous. After all, it really seems like it helps get the mucus out. That's when the doctors stepped in to explain what's really happening. And according to them, excessive mucus coming out is not a good sign. Instead, it's an indication that there's irritation happening inside the nose. The doctors explained that garlic contains strong compounds that can irritate the inside of the nose. When you insert it, the body tries to expel the garlic and its chemicals. That's why the body produces a lot of mucus to flush out the irritant. That's the reason why it suddenly seems like you have a lot of snot. According to the doctors, garlic can burn or damage the sensitive mucous membranes inside the nose. They also warn that it could cause an infection. But even though there have been cases and experts have repeatedly issued warnings, this trend is still circulating up to now. Every flu season, this comes back again because many people are looking for a quick and easy remedy. But in this case, what they thought was medicine could actually make their condition worse. The kick challenge. The door kick challenge started in 2021 as just a simple prank. College students were the first to do this by kicking the doors of dorm rooms to scare their friends. But before the year ended, it got worse and spread to residential neighborhoods. Teenagers are now suddenly showing up at random people's houses, kicking the door, and then quickly running away. The people inside the house couldn't understand what was happening. Most homeowners thought that someone was trying to steal from them or break into their house. But when they went outside, the culprits were already gone, leaving only a broken door behind. The police quickly identified that this was yet another TikTok trend. You can see on the security camera that they approached the house, kicked the garage door, then immediately ran away, and it turned out they really damaged the garage. The media also picked up the story, and many teenagers were even recording themselves while kicking other people's doors. And according to the authorities, they're putting not only other people, but also themselves in serious danger. As time goes by, the homeowners are getting even angrier. Some even said they're ready to defend their homes if someone does this to them. They don't realize that every action has a corresponding reaction. They didn't think about what could possibly happen. Just one wrong move, and it could quickly lead to tragedy. And at that point, it seemed like everyone was just waiting for something bad to happen. In December 2025, a teenager in Florida chose a house to do the challenge. When he kicked the door, it suddenly opened. The good news was the owner of the house wasn't inside, but his dogs were there. One of them was a Yorkshire Terrier named Spooky. Because the door opened, Spooky ran outside toward the street. When the owner got home, the door was broken and his dog was missing. He looked for it everywhere, but when he finally found Spooky, it was already too late. Spooky didn't survive. The whole community was furious because of what happened. The police conducted an investigation. After a few weeks, they arrested the person who kicked the door. He is facing charges of felony burglary and criminal mischief. But even after that incident happened, the trend still didn't completely stop. Up to now, there are still new cases being reported. Sun exposure trend. There's a TikTok trend claiming that health can supposedly be improved in a unique way. It's called sun eating, or more commonly known as sun gazing. According to some, this is said to be an ancient Egyptian practice that can change your life mentally, physically, and spiritually. People are being told to look directly at the sunlight for 5 to 10 seconds every day, but it should only be done during the first or last 15 minutes of sunlight, because that's said to be the safe window. They say it's not only safe, but it can also improve eyesight, endocrine health, and even the sleep cycle. By the latter part of 2023, the trend became extremely popular online. Many TikTok users uploaded videos while trying it out, and they almost never stop boasting about the supposedly numerous benefits of this ancient practice. They say it gives you natural energy. It's something that others supposedly don't want you to know. That's why they say they ban things like this. In 2024, a college student went to an eye clinic after noticing a blind spot in his left eye. When the doctors asked him what happened, they were surprised by his answer. He admitted that he tried the TikTok trend. He said he stared at the sun for less than a minute, but that was enough to cause damage. When his eye was scanned, the doctors saw that his retina was affected. And the worst part is that damage is permanent. Eventually, his case was even included in a medical journal as a warning to the public. But even with real cases like this, the trend on TikTok still hasn't stopped. There are still new videos coming out, claiming that this is safe and beneficial. In 2025, scientists began investigating the trend to find out if it was really as good as people online were claiming. But after all the studies and research, they didn't find any solid evidence supporting the claimed benefits. Nevertheless, the trend is still alive today. Every few months, new videos come out again, promising the same exaggerated benefits. And every time it comes back, new people end up in the same situation. Looksmaxing gone too far. This trend started because many young men wanted to improve their appearance. At first, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with it, but some took it too far. This is called looksmaxing, a set of methods used by men to make themselves look more attractive. There are even Reddit groups created by young men to talk about skincare, fitness, and fashion. Sometimes members even post their pictures. Then other members point out their physical flaws and give suggestions on how to fix them. And for a while, that's all it was. But for others, simple improvements weren't enough. They became obsessed with their facial structure. They wanted a sharper jawline and more defined cheekbones. So they started looking for more extreme methods. And that's when everything started to get worse. Some members of the looksmaxing community came across a theory called Wolff's Law. According to this theory, bones can adjust or adapt when they are repeatedly subjected to pressure over time. But some people misunderstood this. Without going into too much detail, they believed that if they put intense pressure on their faces, it could supposedly make their jawline and cheekbones sharper. And there were actually some who tried this. Since 2022, videos started appearing on TikTok of people claiming that their facial features improved because of this. Those videos reached millions of views. As a result, more people copied the trend, and it spread quickly. By 2023, related videos on TikTok had already reached over 260 million views. There are even some people making tutorials to teach others how to do it. Meanwhile, others post before and after photos to supposedly prove that it's effective. But even though the videos look convincing, the real truth behind them is much darker. Doctors were quick to warn about the dangers of the trend. They explained that bones don't just heal in a way that makes their shape better. They said it's possible for the bone to heal incorrectly or, worse, not heal at all. They also reminded that bones aren't the only thing in a person's face. There are also nerves, muscles, and blood vessels. If too much pressure is applied to the wrong part of the face, it can cause serious problems. Honestly, some experts were even surprised that there are people who actually believe this would work. The media called this trend pointless and ridiculous. Eventually, TikTok also banned it. But even though it was banned, the trend still didn't completely disappear. Up to now, there are still looksmaxing influencers who get millions of views, and some are still promoting questionable ways to supposedly improve one's appearance.